Once more, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our meeting, our SLPP meeting, SLPP UK&I regional meeting. You're all welcome. The reason I'm emphasizing on SLPP UK&I is perhaps somebody may have just walked in accidentally thinking this is another meeting, but this is SLPP UK&I. You are all welcome if you're here for this meeting. Thank you. Before we proceed in reviewing the agenda, it is conventional under my leadership that we don't include prayers on agenda. We don't debate prayers because we come from a prayerful country. So on that note, can I call on Mr. Toto to lead us in a Christian prayers, please?
Thank you, we praise you, we magnify you. Thank you for meeting here this evening, the SLPP UK&I members. We have been through lots of experience, some of which were very difficult for us. Some we're dealing with finance, some we're dealing with fraudulent paper arrangement. Some we got to a point where we didn't know where to go. But the Lord Heavenly Father, His hand of protection was over us throughout things. And we thank God this evening. Remember the Lord Almighty for what He done for us. Lord, we say thank you. And the members, we have been meeting today. They are all here and touching. Happy people here. Very well. Lord, we thank you for that. In the leadership we have, oh Heavenly Father, I beseech thee, may you continue to pour upon them the wisdom to govern that country and to have the love for our people and our country. Continue to provide for the hopeless, hapless, difficult people, Lord. Irrespective of all propaganda that is aimed to cause great confusion and distraction. But Lord, you are great. We know you are going to be with us all the time. I invite you, O Lord, to be in our midst this evening to conduct this meeting with us and let your great peace in the name of the Father and of the Son.
Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toto. We usually call on our resident Imam Alhaji Kamara or Alhaji Kebe to lead us in Islamic prayers, but none of them are here today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to call a very young man to lead us in Muslim prayers. Vamba Kone, please.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. I'll just make it short. Our brother has done all the prayers, so just do a short one. Whether you understand or not, just say Amen. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم أكفني ولم يهديني وخذني وارزقني. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون سلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
There's a lot we can learn from the young man and the young people who are taking over the religion. Once more, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We have, I guess you have the agenda items before you. If you don't have an agenda, I can read it out. Is there anyone in the house who hasn't won? And I think the finance sector has got more copies. Mr. and Mrs. Kimbe, you're welcome. Can we move on? Do we all have the agenda items before us? Is there anyone in the house who haven't seen the agenda? Can you please share with your neighbor? These are not exam papers, so let's share. And it's not APC where exam papers are shared between 3-4 students. Can we proceed? We've seen the agenda items. Is there anything anybody wants to add or deduct from the agenda items that we have before us? Is there anything anybody wants to add or deduct? If there is no one, can somebody move the adoption of the agenda, please? Moved by Morris Gavy, seconded by Septimus Masakwa. Thank you very much. We move on swiftly. We move to point number 2, which is, of course, the opening remarks by the chairman. Before I proceed, I want to recognize all of you in this house for all the hard work you've done. But by the way, we can either speak English or we talk Creole. Okay? We can use both of them. We are Sierra Leoneans. So speak English as you wish, or speak Creole as it pleases you. Okay? So as you listen to me, I may be alternating between Creole and English as I go along. As I was saying, I want to recognize all of you in the house. But before I proceed, is there anyone in this house who is attending the meeting for the first time? For the first time, general meeting. Can you please stand up so we can recognize you? Please stand up so we can recognize you. Ladies and gentlemen, stay standing. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all welcome. And you can see the faces. These are all, most of them are young people. That tells you SLPP is attracting the very young in the country and abroad. Thank you very much. You may be seated. And of course, in the house, we may have our brothers and sisters who may not have been attending meetings for one reason or the other, and they are here today. You're all welcome. I don't want you to stand up, but I just want to say you're all heartily welcome. Feel free. This is your house. This is your party. And I want to commence my chairman's remarks. And this is very difficult to do because every time, this is the second time this is happening. Because the last time again we had a meeting, it was again the anniversary of this very important person in all of our lives. And this is no other person, is the hero of, one of the heroes of this party. Somebody who killed himself for this party. Somebody who would have wished to see SLPP in power, even if for 1 second, then take his last breath. But it wasn't meant to be. And he's not with us here today. And that's no other person but Alhaji Khalil, Mustafa Khalil, or Khalil Mustafa. Today marks the 3 years anniversary of the passing of Alhaji Khalil Mustafa. Very, very sad. If any of us who have actually heard the story of Alhaji Khalil Mustafa, what he went through for SLPP and Sierra Leone, one would have wished for Alhaji Khalil Mustafa to be here today. Because he has only one wish. He wanted to see Mother Bio elected as president, and he wanted to see SLPP in governance. But he couldn't see it. Let's continue praying for Alhaji Khalil Mustafa, and let's continue praying for his family. And we hope his family benefits from this political party that he killed himself for. And on that note, can I ask that we stand up and pay a minute tribute to him, please. May his soul rest in peace. Amen. You may be seated, please. Can I also recognize the presence? I know she was introduced earlier. Can I recognize the presence of the Deputy High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Australian Deputy High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Mrs. Agnes Dugan, on the left-hand side. It is most likely that whilst we are in the room, the High Commissioner himself may come and visit us. He promised that he may find time to come and just peep in and pop out. And we do not expect the big guy to stay with us for the rest of the meeting. So if he can just render us that 1 minute second, we'll be very obliged. Also, I want to also recognize Mr. Mike Lamin, who is the Dr. Lamin, who and the wife, Dr. Lamin and wife. Dr. Lamin is the chairman for the Wales Steering Committee, SLPP Wales. Ladies and gentlemen, if I start there straight away, we launched the Wales SLPP Steering Committee after Mr. Mike Lamin and others, including the Able Finance Secretary, has worked tirelessly to ensure that we have a steering committee in Wales. Mike and the wife and then the other guys in Wales, when we visited, we are very hospitable to us. They gave us everything that we wanted. Initially, the meeting started sluggishly, but as the time went by, it was really a meeting that I will ever remain to remember. And also, what is also interesting about Wales, SLPP was or is the first political party to have gone to Wales, to have been established in Wales. If I can use this word, Wales is a virgin island for political parties. There are no other Sierra Leonean political parties in Wales, and I beg on Mr. Lamin that he should not allow any other political party to form in Wales. That is democratic dictatorship. Yes, so it's allowed. So it don't make any fighter ground for them to grow if they try to come, because everywhere they hear SLPP, they say a Cobra party, when they go there, so say they go burn me. We are not ready to burn any political party in Wales, Dr. Lamin. If you hear them shout APC or NGC, shut it down. You're welcome, Dr. Lamin. I don't think the other guys, the guys in Reading promised to be here. They are on their way. When they come, they will be recognized. Bristol, we recently metamorphosed into a chapter. They are now a full chapter, and I understand their chairman may be in Sierra Leone. So that may be the reason why they are not here. But when they come, we'll recognize anybody that comes in. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for sparing this valuable time of yours to come here this Sunday evening to listen to what SLPP UK&I has got for you and what you can offer SLPP UK&I and of course Sierra Leone under the new direction. Let me, in fact, combine number 2 and number 3, because there's not much really that I can give you as an update apart from what I have said already regarding the establishment of steering committee in Wales and Bristol turning into a chapter. And of course, there was a victory dance in Manchester where our guys attended. We had a very successful victory dance in London ourselves, which the First Lady graciously attended despite constraints on her time. She represented the first gentleman very, very well. Ladies and gentlemen, when elections were conducted in 2007, when APC came to power, I had sleepless nights. And I took an oath that I will only sleep when APC leaves power. And all of us in this room, in one way or the other, sacrificed physically, morally, financially, and some of you and some of us were even abused. We suffered a lot to bring back our party to power. But ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you did not make any mistake to bring SLPP back to power. It's the best thing that can happen to that country.
One people, one country.
There are several reasons for that. Let's put, as important as our president is, let's put our president on the pedestal. Let's leave him aside for once. That country was going into the drains. That country was going into the gutter. This year, those of us who were in Freetown, because I was in Freetown for nearly 4 months, just coming back. Those of us who were in Freetown during the rains and now the dry season, you'll be surprised to know that there was hardly flooding in Sierra Leone. There was hardly any flood anywhere in Freetown. And there's a simple reason for that. Because the president reinstituted the cleaning that he did when he was head of NPRC. And believe it or you leave it, that cleaning process is welcomed by even the international community. They like it. The expatriates in Freetown, they like it. Because I've met with few of them. And the interesting thing you don't know is, and that is usually when I write in the forums, I will say, my country is the most beautiful country. And Freetown, the picturesque scene in Freetown is perhaps, if we look after Freetown very well, it can be the best city in the world. The way Freetown topography is, the way it is situated, when you climb on Leicester Peak or on the hills and you look down Freetown, you fall in love with that country. You fall in love with that capital. But we can only make it attractive for others to come there when we keep it clean. And that is what the president is doing, and that is what the lands minister, the minister of lands is doing. Like I said earlier, APC was in power for 10 years. 10 years. They had no fiscal policy. If a government, those who knows economics, those who studied economics, if a country does not have a fiscal policy, economic policy, you live on borrowed rows. You live on hand to mouth. Because you don't know where your money is coming from, and you don't know where your money is going. And you don't know how to generate that money. So for 10 good years, APC was in power. They had no clear fiscal policy. Madabio came to power. 4 days, he produced a fiscal policy for Sierra Leone. And that is the reason why I'm saying, and I will continue to say this, the worst SLPP government is better than any APC government, anytime, any day, any second. And that is the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what happens, don't bastardize your party out there. We may have our squabbles, we may have our disagreements, we may have things that are differences, but let's try our best to resolve our differences in-house. Since the government came to power almost 6 months ago, they've not been receiving any budgetary support from the international donors. All what they've been using to pay people is what they've been generating internally. In fact, on this note, I want you to give a big hand to the finance ministry. I've met on few occasions with the Minister of Finance, and you know what? He's a guy who does not mince his word. He tells you, Chairman, they're difficult. He said, but we will more succeed. That's what he tells me. All what they've been paying people, they are generating internally. They've not been getting any money from the international donors. But from sources that I know, at the end of this month or December, we'll start getting budgetary support. And just imagine if we get budgetary support, adding to what the economic prudence that has been used, then definitely I know Sierra Leone is on good footing. All the ministers are working very hard. Everybody that the president has appointed, you check their records. Everyone that the president has appointed, you will hardly say that person is not qualified for that position. And he kind of chooses the people very craftily. He's taking his time to do it. And he's doing it very craftily. And most of the people that he has appointed can perform the jobs that they have been appointed to exceptionally. And they are doing exceptionally well. You may hear about scandals like the cleaning. Somebody was asking me yesterday, Chairman, what's your view on the Tondone and the Akisoya exchange. I just call that as miscommunication. It was purely miscommunication. And also, it was because our Deputy Minister of Local Government is an enthusiast party man. He wants to ensure that the party succeeds. So if he sees any iota of doubt in anybody's mind that they want to sabotage the party, he's not going to take it, because I know him. And on that particular day, one of the reasons why the palaver went AWOL was because the president was due to arrive in Freetown the following day. And there were rubbish packed all over the place. They had hired 120 trucks, but the mayor only provided 79 trucks to clear the rubbish. So the minister was annoyed. Of course, some will say he should have handled it differently. But then, in politics, you hit the nail when it's very, very hot. And that's why he did. And I think both of them have learned their lessons, because you saw the letters that Akisoya wrote, the mayor wrote. And I hope they continue to work in harmony, because it is in the good of everyone if the government and the local government, the central government and the local government work in harmony. Going swiftly to the education, the free quality education. Of course, I attended the launch of the free quality education, SLPP. SLPP. You should give yourself a pat on the back for the free quality education. That is a masterstroke. The free quality education is a masterstroke. You cannot fault that. It's going to be difficult to implement, because one thing about our country is there are so many people who are stuck in their old ways. If you want to bring something new, they start to stifle it out. But I will assure you guys, I will assure you, ladies and gentlemen, not under the presidency of Brigadier Bill. They are not going to succeed. No. Because if the man, rightly or wrongly, you can't question the president. If the president could sack his secretary just by a snap of a finger, he can let go anyone. Any one of us. In fact, we were in an induction with the vice president the other day, and the vice president said to us, the ambassadors, the vice president said to us, when I don't say we don't government, we don't sack person also, we say yes. Would they only give no more letter to you, possibly they can't take over? So when you see the Corsica with the letter, you're going to say you don't sack you. That was what he said. You know, and funny, like, this is what has been happening. This is what has been happening. You only see somebody bring a letter to say, I'm the one now in this office. And your dismissal letter will come later. This is what has been happening. You know, because you don't waste time if you want things to succeed, ladies and gentlemen. You don't waste time. And this government is not for wasting time. You know, there's a lot I could say. The things that I know, you've heard about the cancellation of the Mamama. You may have about the Lunge Bridge. You may not have heard about the estuary that they want to create in Freetown. You may not have heard about the convention center they want to build at Lunge. You may not have heard about the extension of a terminal in Lunge. You may not have heard about the runway at Lunge. There are a lot this government wants to do. If this government is successful in delivering those things, APC is toast. I told them many months ago in April 2017 that they are toast. They didn't believe me. And we won the elections. And I'm saying it again today. If all of the policies being considered are implemented by the grace of Allah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala, as our president used to say, APC is toast. And that is the reason why. All the fights, all the propaganda, all the scandals you are seeing them sending over WhatsApp is to strive for one thing. They want to strive for the Commission of Inquiry. Okay? They can post nude photos of anybody they want to. Let them do it. But the commission is not going to stop. The commission is coming. I was in Parliament and I attended partly the parliamentary debate on the commission. And the amount of excuses that APC guys were bringing for reason of not conducting the commission, about national cohesion, about conflict, about this or that. But they are forgetting that the poverty that we are living in Sierra Leone has been caused by corruption, and that can lead to conflict. That is what they are forgetting. And that is the reason why the president is very determined that the commission is going to be held. And I don't think there's going to be any sacred cow. I will not be surprised seeing an schoolman walking into the dark. And when that happened that day, I will wear my bobani and dance. because if we don't hold people accountable, in fact, somebody made a very salient point. This commission is not only for APC. Because if we are setting commission today, holding them to account, if I'm doing anything tomorrow, I'll be very careful. Because I know tomorrow somebody's going to hold me to account. So that is the reason why every Sierra Leonean should embrace this commission. It's a good thing for Sierra Leone. It's a good thing for all of us. It's a good president. Let this happen. Let the commission go on. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome. You know that there are so many new faces in the room now. There are so many new faces, and there's a reason for that. Most of your brothers and sisters, the president has taken them away and given them positions. Before I continue, you need to observe protocol.